Hello, I'm Dan Foley with PHC News. I'm here at the 2015 AHR Expo in Chicago. I'm with Chuck O'Donnell with Lars. Chuck, good to see you again. It's been about a year.
Yeah.
We've put your gear in over the years, but this is a product I've not seen before. What do we have going on here?
Well, what we have here is a whole series of new wall hung and floor standing products. This one that we're looking at is called the Mascot FT Hybrid Water Heater. And what that is, it's a condensing water heater, but it also has a storage of water on there. That's why we call it a hybrid.
So if I understand you correctly, this does just domestic. This is not a heating product, strictly domestic hot water.
Correct. Strictly domestic hot water.
And what sizes? How much can I expect out of this?
It comes in the 199 MBH size and the 140 as well. And you can get up to 5 gallons a minute domestic at a 77-degree rise.
So that's plenty of hot water for a
Plenty
residential
of hot
application
water,
or even some small
absolutely.
commercial applications. Now this is a wall-mounted product. So you send a bracket kit, mounts on the wall.
Absolutely.
How do I vent this? Does it vent into a chimney? Does it sidewall vent? How do you vent this?
You can sidewall vent it. It comes in polypropylene, PVC type venting.
CPVC?
CPVC as well, yes.
Gotcha. And how far can I go with this?
You can go up to 100 feet of vent pipe.
Is it sealed combustion? So you're bringing in fresh air and exhaust, or is it?
Yeah, it's sealed combustion. 97% thermal efficiency, so it's very efficient product.
So this is a condensing product?
It is a condensing
How do I
product.
deal with the condensate? That's always an issue in some of the basements I work in.
Right, it does come with a condensate trap, and then you can drain it out. And then we also offer a neutralizer kit with pump as well if you want to add that to the system.
Gotcha, gotcha. If you have an application where you can only get the exhaust out, can you pipe it with one pipe or do you require two pipes?
Two-pipe system. Yep.
Fresh air in, exhaust
Fresh
out.
air, yep.
Gotcha. What kind of controls? Does it have an integrated control package in here?
It does have an integrated control package, and it's under this panel here, and it's pretty intuitive. It's a couple push buttons and a dial will take you through the various settings, so you can go back and forth pretty quickly to do the setup.
Gotcha, gotcha. What kind of heat exchanger does this have? Is this the heat exchanger?
That is the heat exchanger right over here. It's actually a pretty interesting design. It's a fire tube design, and on the inside here, the fire tubes are made out of aluminum core with fins, and they're surrounded by stainless steel.
So you got a stainless steel shell, stainless steel tubes, and let me show, you've got aluminum inserts to extract the efficiency out of the flue gases.
Right, because the aluminum conducts heat about 10 times faster than stainless, but we wanted the stainless steel in the tank to protect the aluminum from any chlorine or whatever additives might be in the water.
Right, it's heavy duty, this thing's solid.
It is, it's a solid piece of equipment.
So now this looks like a pretty good sized shell, so you've got some storage capacity. It's not strictly a tankless, you got some storage capacity.
Exactly.
Talk about that.
Well, in this hybrid unit, we have about 4 gallons of domestic water in there, and the reason we did that was so when folks turn on their faucet, they can get hot water almost immediately. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, the efficiency of your condensing wall-hung tankless, but you have kind of the immediate draw that you would have as a tank type. So that's why we call it the hybrid.
So you've got a little bit of storage capacity, so maybe if you're just washing your hands or you got a small draw, you may not even fire the burner.
Right,
storage.
Because we keep it warm at all times on standby, yes.
Well, this is good stuff. I know you got some other products. What else are we going to look at here?
Well, in this Mascot FT series of boilers, a series of products, it comes as a combi boiler, wall hung, and also as heating only wall hung and floor standing combi. And then in addition, we have a tankless condensing water heater if folks would rather have that technology.
Why don't we take a step and take a look at one of those other products?
Sounds good.
Okay. Chuck, you got a similar product here, but only it's a little bit different. It looks like it's a floor mounted product. What do we got here?
What we have is our floor standing Mascot FT combination boiler and water heater. So basically what it does is it uses the same fire tube technology we spoke earlier in the tankless hybrid. But instead of having the domestic water in that heat exchanger, we have a separate indirect tank underneath, so that the boiler water is in the heat exchanger to heat the home, and we then circulate that water down into the indirect tank underneath for the domestic hot water.
We can do space heat and domestic hot water with this one appliance.
With this one appliance.
But we're not mixing boiler water and domestic water.
No, that's correct.
Separate it through a heat exchanger.
Correct.
Very nice.
Yep.
Now, what sizes does this come in? Is this residential? What can we do with this?
Yeah, this is residential. It comes in 140,000 BTUs and 199,000 BTUs. So those two sizes. It's been rated at 95% AFUE, so it's that most efficient Energy Star mark.
And how much hot water can I get out of this?
This outputs about 5 gallons at 77-degree rise.
So that's a pretty good supply for a residential application.
Again, yes. Yep, we tried to keep the supply coming out pretty high on these.
At 95%, are we venting this with PVC, CPVC, PPS? How are we venting this?
Right, we have polypropylene, CPVC and PVC for bringing in the air.
100 feet, how far can we go with
Yep,
this?
100 feet of vent.
Intake and exhaust.
Intake and exhaust.
So it's very flexible.
It is.
On some basis we have issues with condensate. How do we drain the condensate from this? Where's the condensate connection?
Right, well, there's a condensate trap right in here, and it comes out the side. All the piping comes out the side, so it's a pretty easy collection point.
Easy to clean, easy to access?
Yep.
I'm a service tech. I like ease of access.
Yeah.
How do I get into this? Just
Yep,
one
it's
class?
just one knob that you turn, the front panel comes off, and you have access to everything right in the front of the boiler. So you can get to the blower, the pumps, the condensate drain, everything you need to get to.
That sounds easy. I need easy access to work on these things.
That's the way we like it.
It sounds like it's easy. How about the controls? Does it have an integrated boiler control?
Yep.
Domestic control? built in?
Integrated boiler control, so you can do all your domestic water setup and your boiler heating set points right from this one control.
So the domestic hot water tank, is that pre-piped from the factory or is that field piped?
Everything is pre-piped and wired from the factory, including the pumps that recirculate the water between the main heat exchanger and the indirect tank.
You make it easy for the installers to put this system in because typically we'll pipe an external tank, pump, controls, you have it all built in.
Yeah, we wanted to have it an all-in-one combination unit that really had the output and the water supply that folks are looking for.
As a contractor, time is money. You saved me money by putting it that way. I like that.
Perfect. We did our job.
What's the next product we're going to look at, Chuck?
We're going to look at a wall-hung version of this very same boiler.
Let's step over there and have a look. Chuck, you got another product here. It looks very similar to one we saw earlier. What's the difference of this one? What does this one do?
Right, well, it looks similar because it's all the Mascot fire tube family of boilers that use the fire tube heat exchanger we went over earlier. This is our combi wall-hung boiler and water heater, so it does both space heating and water heating.
So it's very similar to the floor mount model we just looked at, only wall mount capability.
Wall mount. Right, and so you notice it's not as big as the floor standing, but it does still have storage on it like the floor standing does with a little indirect tank. So there's a small, we call it a mini indirect tank that runs along the side of the heat exchanger, and it does the same purpose as the floor standing.
And venting and condensate drain, very similar to what we just talked about?
Very similar, exactly. The 100 feet of vent and everything that we talked about before.
Gotcha, so space heat and domestic heat and a wall hung product.
Correct.
So you've got a lot of new offerings, a lot of new fire tube offerings to complement your previous water tube design. What's the point there?
Well, the point was we wanted to offer a lot of technologies, different choices for the contractor. So whether he wanted a boiler that was 50,000 BTUs up to 220, which would be our Mascot LX line, or if you wanted a fire tube version over here that has some storage on board, or he needed a tankless water heater, we wanted to have the whole range available for the contractor.
Right, and as a contractor, I see a lot of different applications, a lot of different designs, so it gives me different choices to plug in the right product to the right application.
And that was our goal.
That's great. I like choices.
Very good.
Chuck, I appreciate your time.
All right,
Thank you so much. Dan Foley here. I'm back at the Bradford White side of the booth with Chad Sanborn with Bradford White. Chad, there's a lot of information going around about the new energy standards regarding water heaters. Can you tell me what that's all about?
Yeah, certainly. So the NACA 2015, or commonly referred to as the National Appliance Energy Conservation Act, affects all residential water heaters. So essentially anything below 75,000 BTU per hour or anything below 12 kW of input on the electric side, ranging from 20 to 100 gallons on gas and 20 to 120 gallons on electric, are affected by these increased minimum efficiency standards. So essentially the energy factor is being raised on the minimum.
Chad, I've put in hundreds upon hundreds of your water heaters, but as I understand it, business as usual won't be business as usual. Tell me what's going to change.
Yeah, so from a contractor standpoint, the water heaters that you're installing every day, Dan, the 1-inch cavity, 40-gallon tall water heater is going to grow in size. So we have to add more insulation to it in order to meet these higher minimum energy factors.
This is obviously going to add cost and expense to a typical water heater installation. What do I tell my clients when they ask, Dan, why is this water heater so much more than the last one I put in?
Yeah, that's a hot question right now. You know, really this whole act, it's an act of Congress that was put into place by the Department of Energy. And the intention is to really save money from a from an environment standpoint over a period of time. So raising the minimum efficiencies forces everybody to put in more efficient products.
Right. Save energy, save dollars, save fuel. That all makes sense.
Yes.
Sometimes it's easy to say on paper, but it's hard to do when you're in someone's basement or it's in a closet or it's in a tight position to install it. How is Bradford White going to help us, the contractor, put these products in?
So Bradford White has really developed a full line of solutions to give a solution for all applications. Those tight installations, like you said, aren't very common, but they are out there. You might need a water heater that still fits into that footprint. We have some products here that I'd be happy to show you about.
We'll look at those in a minute. I'm familiar with the standards, but I don't know all the details. Where do I go to find out all the details? When my customers have questions for me, where do I find this information?
Yeah, so we have a brochure that we've developed. It's been out really since 2011, late 2011. Talks about all the information regarding these new efficiency standards. Also on our website, we've taken information at www.bradfordwhite.com, and we've put that information on our website to help educate all levels, wholesalers, contractors, even homeowners.
I was going to say, can we send the homeowners to your website, or is that a contractor-only website?
No, it's for everybody, so it's focused for everybody.
Great, that's a great source of information.
Yeah.
Why don't we step around back and look at some of the products that you've designed to address these issues?
Perfect. Sounds good.
Okay, I'm back with Chad Sanborn with Bradford White. Chad's going to show us some of the products that they've designed to be in compliance with the new energy standards. Chad, I'm looking at this first product here. This looks like a regular Bradford White water heater. What's different about this?
You know, you're exactly right, Dan. This is the same Bradford White water heater that we've always been producing. Same Defender safety system, same Hydrojet dip tube, same Icon gas control. The only difference is it has more insulation. So more insulation means lower standby loss of energy, and we can meet those increased energy factors.
I see. So I see we can still atmospherically vent this. We don't need a sidewall vent kit. It can vent into an atmospheric chimney. Is that correct?
Exactly, yeah. This one that we're looking at here is a 40-gallon water heater. So typically the 40-gallon water heater would be about 2 inches smaller,
right.
But in order to meet the regulations, we had to grow it 2 inches in diameter and about an inch taller.
So basically it's about the same size as a 50-gallon water heater, but it's 40-gallon with more insulation.
You got it.
And that's the main difference, is the insulation.
You got it. So a majority of the installations and repair and replacement are going to be able to put something like this in, but there may be some installations where that closet constrains the size of the water heater, and this might not work as an application.
As I understand it, these standards go into effect in April. Will I have this available to me from my suppliers in April? When will this be available?
You know, that's a lot of misconception in the marketplace right now. Is the April 16th date is a hard cutoff date for manufacturers. We can no longer produce product non-compliant after that date. For contractors, for wholesalers, they can still buy and sell and install non-compliant product after April 16th, as long as inventory lasts.
That's great news. I didn't understand that. So if I've got water heaters in my warehouse, or my supplier has water heaters after that cutoff date, I can still legally put them in.
Yes.
It just affects you, the manufacturer.
That's correct.
Well, there's a lot of misinformation going out. I'm glad you cleared that up, Chad.
Yeah, and of course our website has all that information cleared up too at bradfordwhite.com.
Great.
So
why don't we walk over and take a look at this other product you have over here?
Sure.
Chad, this product looks a little different than the last one we saw. Is this compliant with the new energy standards?
Yeah, this is also a 40-gallon water heater. So that other heater we saw was an atmospheric vented 40-gallon water heater with more insulation. We talked about some applications, the size might be an important factor, so we've developed a solution for those specific applications. This is a 40-gallon, smaller diameter, the same height, but it also vents atmospherically. We put a flue damper on top of it to help achieve those standby loss, the energy standby loss.
I see.
Just like adding more insulation.
So you've achieved compliance just from a different direction.
Right.
This will now fit in the tight spaces. Chad, I've got a lot of mechanical closets where I've got a furnace, return drop, and a water heater, and they're all touching each other.
Yeah.
This is a product that fit into that application.
Yes, certainly. Another option would be too, if this isn't an option, maybe the vent is very close, you can't get an extra 4 or 5 inches for the atmospheric vent, you could put in a 30-gallon water heater in that. It would be the same footprint as the 40-gallon.
Sure, just downsize the water heater one size.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of challenges out in the field for us contractors, and it's good to have partners like Bradford White that offer products that help us achieve that goal.
Yeah, I mean, made in America, wholesale only, we want you guys to succeed, so.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Chad, what do we have here? What are you standing next to? This looks different to me.
This here is an electric water heater. So electric water heaters are also affected by NACA.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
so
just
it's not
like
just gas, it's electric as well.
Yeah, electric as well. Anything under 12 kW from 20 gallons to 120 gallons is affected by NACA. So they've increased the minimum energy factor to be a 0.95.
And how did you achieve that? With more insulation? Do I see some kind of jacket on the outside? What do we have here?
Yeah, this model specifically is a 40-gallon lowboy. So the scenario you just talked about in the mechanical room with the furnace, this is very popular to put underneath an air handler or something like that. So you can imagine increasing 2 inches in diameter and an inch taller or 2 inches taller isn't going to happen with this product. So we developed a solution to come out with a insulation blanket that gets applied to the water heater. So the hard jacket is the same size as the old model, but then you have this insulation jacket that can kind of help fit into those tighter applications.
So if I understand it properly, we can fit it through the door with the jacket off and add the jacket after the fact to achieve it. Do you have other electric water heaters with more insulation? How did you achieve it for the other lines?
Yeah, so the standard upright, the 40-gallon talls, 50-gallon talls, those are more insulation, but some of the higher running models, we did the same concept. We gave another option to have this insulation blanket.
I'm back with Chad Sanborn of Bradford White. Chad, we use a lot of your residential products and some light commercial, but commercial's not my forte. But I realize that Bradford White has a full complement of commercial products. Talk to me about them.
Yeah, we've really been in the commercial market for quite some time. You know, we have atmospheric commercial gas water heaters, we have power vent commercial gas water heaters. We have our highest efficient EF series water heater too. So this can be installed in a power direct vent or power vent application. So,
what is the efficiency of this product then?
This actually, believe it or not, is still the highest on the market. We introduced this in 2003, up to 99.1% thermal efficient, and it's still the highest on the market.
And what would an application for this be? Restaurant, large residential house, commercial? Where would you use this product?
You know, I'd say probably all commercial applications, restaurants, schools, maybe large houses if you have 13 car wash body sprays in the bathroom, something like that. Yeah, you could put something like this in there. But for the most part, this is very flexible. You know, like I said, you can have power direct vent, you can have power vent. It's a high efficient water heater, and it's the highest on our product line. It has a hydrojet dip tube on it, and of course it's made in America, right in the heart of America in Michigan.
Is this a condensing product or non-condensing?
This is condensing, so it vents through PVC pipe,
Okay.
CPVC, ABS where local codes permit.
But we'll need a floor drain or some kind of condensate pump to deal with the condensate.
Yep, definitely.
And what sizes does this come in?
We have two sizes available. We have a 60-gallon and we have a 100-gallon model. So this that we're looking at right here is a 60-gallon model, 199,000 BTU per hour.
So it's got a good-sized power burner that'll give you that quick recovery.
Yeah, it's very reliable. Like I said, we introduced it in 2003, and we've had great success over the last 10-plus years with it.
Sounds like a good product. We'll have to give it a try.
Yeah, absolutely. Along with the rest of the commercial heaters.
There you go. Chad, this looks like a familiar product, but I haven't seen this exact one before. What do we have here? What do we have here?
Yeah, Dan, this is our line of tankless water heaters, known as the Infinity Tankless. This one here is a condensing unit, 199,000 BTU per hour, fully modulating, 10-to-1 turn down.
Now, is this product in compliance with the energy standards?
Yeah, almost all tankless product that's on the market is in compliance. This certainly is. So the new minimum EF for a tankless water heater is a 0.82. This one that we're looking at here achieves a 0.95 energy factor, so it's Energy Star.
So in some applications where space is tight, we can take out a tank style, put this in and be in compliance with the regulations.
Yeah, that's an option. There's also other solutions with tank type water heaters as well, but if needed, you could use a tankless.
This is one tool in my arsenal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, in my market, I'm in the DC area, we have very hard water, and tankless water heaters are notorious for getting scaled up. How are you going to address that?
Yeah, we've incorporated into this scale reduction technology. Without getting into the details, just looking at it, it's a combination of multiple things. The material of the heat exchangers, the way that the burner modulates, the multiple fans, there's turbulators inside the heat exchangers, etc. That helps to combat the scale.
So your product's less prone to scale up?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
What about venting? How do we vent this?
This particular unit is vented through PVC, so it's actually pretty versatile. You can vent through PVC, CPVC, ABS if needed. You can also vent concentrically, so there's a concentric vent kit if you want to go up and out the wall through a coaxial vent. you could do that as an option. You can also cascade these together and common vent through a common vent kit as well.
For large applications,
Yep.
that makes sense.
Yep.
Chad, is this product available now, or is this on the is coming down the market?
No, this is available. Talk to the local representative, and all the information, again, is on our website, bradfordwhite.com.
We'll give it a try.
All right.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Chad.
it, Dan. Thanks. Sure.